Okay, well I figured more than a few people would be right about saying don't let this thing get to the point where it dies. Yeah, I know Delta make a good power supply, but just the way that one's fluctuating by 0.1 volts all the time, definitely not good. What's the output rating? 180 watts, I believe. Yeah, not very big. It's a Chinese-made Delta power supply. Delta make good stuff, but this thing, coming from my work, this computer's had a long, hard life. It's probably been used constantly. So I'm going to give it a quick refurb. Take the heatsink off, make sure that's right. It does move a bit. I bet you the heatsink compound's gone off. The caps on the board are mostly solid state and the electrolytics look pretty good, so we should be right there. Might even see if I can find my bracket assembly for this Zalman cooler. I should have them somewhere. I'll stick this big monster on there. That'd be more like it. Assuming it even fits. Yeah, enough room for the PCI-E card, that's for sure, so assuming it fits, I'll even get this as a Zalman to fit it. That's just got a crappy little Celeron 1.8 or 2 gigahertz stuck to it. All the pins are bent on it, so we'll clean that off and see if that fits it. But I've got to make a power supply fit outside the case. So screw it to the wall here, like all that can be cable tied back. And yeah, I'll mount it next to the case and back in here with enough clearance for a video card output, and just have the power supply sitting there. Even if I've got to trim part of that, I can't really trim that. Unscrew the top bracket there against the wall and move the computer back a little bit so I can have it flush mounted with the cables going straight in and up. Should be pretty good. Poor old thing. Oh, the cupboard's looking pretty bare with that power supply out of there. Got 2 USBs on the front that I never even use, because it's got about 2 on the back, no, 4 on the back. Yeah, it's got 4 USB on the back and 2 on the front. Only 1 SATA in use. Yeah, not bad. Should be able to squeeze the card in there or cut and shut the front cover or top cover. Replace or at least replenish the grease on that. Yeah, should be pretty good. Hard drive's still good. 180 gigabytes. I think I put 180 in there. Yeah. Also got that LG high definition television up on the wall too. It's a shame about the scratches, but trying to replace that diffuser layer is a pain in the butt. It's not going to work very well. So we'll just put up with the scratches and see how we go. And also listen to my Industrialist. Awesome album. And yes, every computer needs a 9.1 ton TX valve hanging off it too. Oh, that's always a good thing. It's booted right up, nice and quick. Fan revs its tits off when I take that shroud off, but I think it's just recirculating heat from the board. The thermistor on it must be very sensitive. I haven't repotted it in compound yet though, so I'm going to take the heatsink off and redo the heatsink compound. But yeah, I'm also using the 24 pin connector. The old power supply didn't have the extra 4, the extra 12 and 5 volts. So I just plugged it in for the hell of it and it worked. It came up quite nicely. I'm guessing it's going to need all the power it can get when I stuff this 7600 GT into it. And yeah, I just got to trim that plastic shroud, trim the front cover and put some extra fans and airflow ducts in it. And I'm running the Antec power supply out of the gaming computer's case, the one in my bedroom. I put a 750 watt Cooler Master one in there, I think it was. Not Cooler Master, I can't remember the name of it. It's one of the slightly reasonable power supplies, not without going nuts and spending $300, $400. But yeah, Antec pretty good too. This power supply weighs a ton compared with the other ones. I've got a Cadogan branded one which weighs probably a third of the weight of this thing. And one thing I've learned about computer power supplies is if they weigh a ton, they're probably really good. And yeah, it's just a bit of silicone under there just to keep it in place, and a little bracket. So I'll take these weights off once it's cured. Back fan in there, it's got plenty of airflow. I'm just going to make some little pieces of plastic and just tack them in place with little dobs of silicone so that the power supply helps draw air through. Plus I'm going to put one up here, little DC fan just below the graphics card so it can draw heat off the graphics card fan and out, and draw cool air in through here and through there. The hard drive already has its own little factory fitted fan, so that's pretty good. Yeah, it's a nice little system there. If you're not familiar with this computer, it's an IBM Thinkcenter. Where's the cover? Yeah, it's Core, no, not Core 2, sorry, Pentium D, IBM Thinkcenter. Not a bad little micro PC. They're designed to either stand on end or be mounted like a micro desktop. Pretty straightforward business machine. I scored this one from work for nothing. They're throwing it in the dumpster with a load of laptops and other bits and pieces. That one there went out with it. It's an IBM Think Tower with a Pentium 4 hyperthreading, 3 GHz. But this thing here beats the crap out of it. It's running at the moment. Has completely lost its LAN. I just cannot get onto the network or the internet with this thing anymore. But yeah, this Pentium D just beats the crap out of that Pentium 4 3 GHz hyperthreading. And that was both of these formatted and set up, same operating system, same everything from the start. They've got the same amount of RAM. This thing just owns the shit out of it, even with the original power supply that was just in it and no extra graphics card or anything. So this thing's going to kick ass once I get a better graphics card in it and a better CPU cooler. Yeah, see, that's the Antec power supply. That's much healthier. Slight fluctuations. I don't know what that's all about, but then this meter is made for a battery charger, so it's probably not. It's probably very sensitive. But those fluctuations are only about 0.05 of a volt. They're not big fluctuations. It's very, very little. Whereas before, the other power supply was sitting at the 25% charge mark, the 11.8, and it was fluctuating between 11.9 and 11.7. So yeah, poor old little Delta power supply was quite dead, almost dead. But yeah, not a bad little system. I got two gig RAM sticks in there, I think. Yeah, I think both those RAM sticks are 2 GB. So doing pretty well. Well, it's not hard to see why this thing was randomly overspeeding the fan, or at least at any minimal load. One of the standoffs was broken and not doing anything, so this heatsink would have been sitting at an angle. Yeah, unfortunately I'm going to have to find another one, which, if I can find my adapter kits for that big Zalman cooler, it looks like that's going on. And I found a tube of heatsink paste as well today, so that's good. I'm going to chuck that back in as it is. I don't even need the drive, it's not connected at all, but you can just stay in there and fill the hole. Just in case I do get rodents back in here again, I don't want them running through my computer case, so I'm going to rodent proof the whole thing so that they can't get in. Same with that one down there, that's completely sealed apart from the small vents, so nothing can get in and poop on my video boards and other bits and pieces and cause problems. I've seen plenty of computers get ruined by corrosive mouse pee and poop. So you want to keep them out of the case, keep your cases sealed up and use fine vents. Either way, yeah, you can see the other standoff still on the board. The heatsink just came away and that was it. Caps all look good, little solid state ones generally last the life of the board. Bigger electrolytics can fail, but they look like good Nichicon or Rubicon caps. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, CPU rails are in. Oh, cooler rails. Hopefully I can get enough tension on it to keep it on the CPU. It's not made for this socket design, so I'm making this from scratch. I likewise had to extend this loom with a little extension plug because of the card wouldn't make it past it. Not too bad. Should work just fine. Guess I'll clean this old heatsink paste up and give it a go. Hey, it's alive. It's working alright so far. It's up and running. I don't have the graphics card connected yet, but I'm running onboard graphics. Yeah. This little power adapter thing's supposed to go from 24 pin to 28 pin or something like that. No, sorry, 20 pin to 24 pin. That's part of the power supply's 24 pin connector, which is supposed to go up there, but the loom isn't long enough, so I'm just using a power adapter. It all comes from the same supply rails as far as I know. Seems to work just fine. Yeah, very good. Time to tidy this little thing up, get some more fans installed, and yeah, what else can I do? Get the front cover sorted out. Might even go for a clear plexiglass cover. Graphics card doesn't stand out too far, so I'm just going to make a little cutout bubble and extra fan in there or something, and extra fan assembly up here. I'll pillage the ones out of that Celeron D primary school or high school computer. That had a nice little set of twin angled fans which would fit nicely on the back here and draw some air through, or even just here in front of the CPU cooler. You can already feel a bit of heat coming off it, but these Zalmans run really nice. They're a really high-end expensive cooler. I know you can get better ones like liquid or super heavy-duty copper coolers, but for the price of the Zalman's pretty good. Unfortunately I just don't have the right mounting kit for it, so I made my own and it worked. Sits on there 100% square and nice and firm. I just had to shim under the tension bracket with a little bit of it was about 1.5mm alley, just a strip of that under there so that the spring clip gives it a bit more tension, and it's on there and good running. Well, tried two different cards and the PCI-E on this board is just doing nothing. I mean, I'm running a much bigger card than I should on it, and I get nothing out of the cable. I'm running off my normal D-sub output. I get absolutely nothing from the DVI, and the computer itself doesn't even try and look for it. It doesn't come up on the hardware manager. Absolutely nothing. I've been through BIOS and enabled what I can in the way of graphics additions, and it just won't find the PCI-E. So if anyone's got any ideas on what it might be, let me know, because I'm running out of ideas on this thing. I've tried going through the BIOS and whatever, and rebooting, powering down completely, all that sort of thing. Two different cards. I pulled the GeForce out, or the 7600 GT out, and put this 9800 GT or whatever it is in there, and it ain't doing any better. I can't even run this card because it's passive cooled, and I need case airflow with it. That's why that fan's stuck in there. But unfortunately it didn't do anything. I mean, I can't even change input. Yeah, it's just going back to HD15, which is the D-sub input. It's got two D-subs and a DVI, but it's just going straight back to the D-sub. And again, the PC doesn't even recognise it, so it wouldn't be the monitor. I have run this monitor on DVI and it's been fine. So yeah, that's about all for tonight. And thanks for watching, and please let me know if you've had any experience with these things. I did check the Lenovo website, and they didn't have anything in the way of drivers for the PCIe option on this board. It's got to be something silly and simple. I notice there's a little dip switch next to the battery, but that'll probably be CMOS flash and reset, so I'm not going to touch them. Yeah, in theory you should just be able to plug a PCIe card in and it'll just become backwards compatible and keep working, but ain't working.